welcome to the Innkeeper's Diaries podcast. We are your hosts, Joel and Brittany.
Hello.
And we are innkeepers.
And a husband and wife duo.
Yes, indeed. It is a blast to be together and to do this thing together.
I'm glad you think so.
At least one of us does, you know? That's where we're at this point.
Some days we don't think it's fun. But most days we think it's very fun.
That's very true. And if you're still listening and now you're scared because we're kind of hesitant, don't be.
No, we have a good time over here, and we want to invite you into it.
Yes, we do. We want to share about what we're doing, kind of the why behind it, and what else, babe?
Well, we're going to talk about fun things. We're going to do basically a recipe per podcast, which is exciting. I'll be sharing a recipe that we've been loving here at the inn, and the recipe will be in the comments section or caption section. How does this work? It'll be somewhere.
Show notes.
Show notes. That's what they're called.
That's the thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
And then each week we're going to talk about a certain inn story.
Yes.
Sometimes it'll be about an inn that we love and we've partnered with. Sometimes it'll be a story from our own inn. This week, we're going to probably just start with our story.
Yes.
Not probably. That's exactly what's going to happen. And then we're going to give a little hospitality tip of the week for y'all, too. So if you're planning on hosting anything fun in your house this summer or whenever you're listening to this, hopefully these hospitality tips will be helpful for you.
Sweet. Well, let's dive in.
Great. All righty. So we're going to start with a recipe that I really, really love. I've been making this for plated breakfast. So here at the inn, we have two types of breakfast that we offer, which is actually pretty typical from what I've heard from other innkeepers as well. Basically, we have the continental breakfast. So I bake everything except the bagels and bread sometimes.
Sometimes bread. And
Sometimes
it's delicious when you do
homemade bread.
It's so good.
Depends on how much energy and time I have that week. But yeah, so I bake a bunch of stuff for continental breakfast so that everybody has, something homemade and fresh and delicious for breakfast.
Everyone deserves a good time and a good breakfast.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, when we acquired it, the bed and breakfast, it was just muffins bought from the store. And I was like, I think we can do better. So
let's elevate this.
Let's elevate this and make continental breakfast worth it for people.
So if you're an innkeeper and you're listening to this, might be time.
Yes.
Start
Absolutely.
making your own.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you have time. All
or
inns are
capacity,
different.
Because I know in Michigan, I can get away with that here. But some states are pretty strict on what you can bake in-house if you don't have a commercial kitchen. So
good point. Good point.
So just make sure you check your state laws before attempting.
It's a common rule of life. Make sure you check the law before you do it.
Yes. So that being said, we mostly have continental breakfast guests, but we do have quite a few plated breakfast guests too. And this is a special breakfast that's a warm plated meal. It's served at 9 a.m. in the mornings. And some people choose to pay extra for our plated breakfast option, which is fun.
It's a little bit more of the traditional bed and breakfast.
Yes. And it gives me a chance to kind of go crazy and do real elaborate.
You're an artiste.
Yes.
An artiste of the foods.
Right, exactly. So without further ado, this recipe this week I've been loving. It's super easy. It doesn't even really need necessarily a recipe. But open-faced sourdough English muffins, they are incredible. And I top them with a Merlot cheese. And then melt that with some prosciutto on top in the oven for about 15 minutes. And while that's happening, I make some sunny side up eggs or I poach eggs. It's kind of dependent on what I'm feeling and how much time I have. And then I top it the sandwich after it's got that melty, cheesy goodness on it with the prosciutto that's now a little bit crispy from being in the oven, and that delicious egg with a little salt and pepper, and then stick some arugula on there, some microgreens from my garden now. I'm making my own microgreens in the back of the house, and I'm pumped about it.
It's a good time.
It is. And then I serve it with a honey, lime, watermelon, blueberry salad, fruit salad. That is super, super good. So I'll also link that recipe because it's delicious.
Yes. And I'm a pretty picky eater. I've grown over the years, friends.
You're great.
But I will say that even I love this sandwich. And I know that's a thing when you're working at an inn, because we don't tell people what we're making for breakfast.
Yeah, they go in blind.
And so you kind of have to ride the line of, like, how creative do I get? Because you don't want, like, there are picky eaters like me out there that are like, I just want scrambled eggs and a slice of bacon. And then there are people that are like, impress us with your food.
It's true.
So I feel like this sandwich, open-faced sandwich thing is like the best of both worlds.
It's elevated. It makes you look fancier than you are. It doesn't take more than 30 minutes. It's very simple, very straightforward. It's not at all like my French toast or my waffle recipes that take a lot of effort. If I have a lot of guests at the end, this one's perfect because I can just plop them all in the oven at once and everybody's happy. I did make huevos rancheros once and got real overzealous for like 18 people. And Joel literally sat there the whole time. I don't know if you should be doing this. I don't know if you should be doing this.
I was a doubter. I did doubt.
But it ended up going over super well. But I would probably never do that again for 18 people.
Yeah.
Unless I want to start at 7 a.m.
Well, I also was the food runner.
You were.
And I had like 2 plates and like 1 plate in each hand running out, trying to get to people. And they're just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
What a time to be alive.
But these open-faced sandwiches, try
so
them.
Good.
We'll put the recipe in the show notes.
Yes, enjoy. And let us know if you try it and what you thought.
So for the first inn that we are going to talk about, it's going to be our inn.
Feels right.
Yeah, we figured since it's the first episode, we know us best. So let's just talk about it. So Britt, give us the history behind our inn.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's super fun. We've got kind of a cool history to our inn. We are located in Bel Air, Michigan. We have
woot woot.
We have about 1,000 people population total in the wintertime. And we have a lot of snowbirds around here with a lot of like $1 million properties around because we are very, very close to Torch Lake, which is one of the most beautiful lakes in Michigan with a very crystal clear lake that's got these incredible blue hues that show up on sunny days. And
it sometimes looks like the Caribbean.
Yes.
It's insane.
It's crazy. So we do jump up to like 10,000 people in the summertime because of tourism and everything else and snowbirds coming back for beautiful northern Michigan summers. So Bel Air, though, was a thriving lumber community back in the 1800s. And our house is known as the Nixon House. Emma Richardai was the daughter of the Richardai. She was part of the Richardai family. She married William Nixon. That's the reason our house is called the Nixon House. But the Richardais owned the lumber factory, and it burned down 3 times by 1906.
Yes, 3 times.
And then at the end of that, they were like, we are not rebuilding again. This is ridiculous.
They gave up. They were like, you know what? It's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah. So the Richardai family were known for kind of like making Bel Air this destination because of lumber. But William actually owned a grocery store. And so our property is definitely more like farmhousey.
Yeah.
We were on like, I don't actually know how many acres belonged to Emma and William back in the day.
I think acres were free.
Yeah, probably.
Back then, so it's just all the acres.
All of the acres. Yeah. Emma would like help in the garden and bring all of the like fresh produce and stuff down to the grocery store. We're like almost right on our main street. We're just 1 street behind, up on a hill on 3 acres now. And the house was built in 1878. There's actually a little road alleyway thing that's called Emma's Way, where she used to take the grocery produce down to Williams grocery store. So that's pretty cool to have her legacy still.
And that's located downtown.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A little
next
alleyway.
to, isn't it the auto parts store?
I think so.
Or chiropractic? It's like right there.
Yeah.
If you're in Bel Air.
If you're in Bel Air, go check it out. Emma's Way.
See.
It's very, very sweet. And a good little tribute to her. So they had 6 kids, and all of them grew up on this property. We have a little now it's a garden shed on the side of the house. Everybody always asks what this is, but William actually built it as a dollhouse for his girls to play in, which was super cute and exciting. So we have that, and then went through the Richardai family for a really long time, and then in 1985, a woman named Jill purchased this the home and turned it into a bed and breakfast in 1989. Her and her husband bought it for $40,000, which is absolutely mind-blowing.
Insane.
It's ridiculous. It's a 5-bedroom house with an innkeeper's quarters on it. And then,
they added the innkeeper's quarters.
So Jill came over like a few months ago, and we had a good old time chatting about what the place used to look like and all this other stuff. But she was saying that she went through 13 layers of wallpaper. So they basically demoed everything, took out all of the plumbing and electrical, did an awesome woodworking display in our library that is gorgeous. Like, they just did a really good job.
They tried to match the wood that was already there.
Right.
Because a lot of the trim, doors, windows are original wood, but they tried to match that in the library and the staircase.
Yes.
Because the staircase used to be one wall.
Yeah.
And then Jill one day just smashed it. Yeah. Which, I mean, who doesn't want to smash something?
I know.
You know?
So, yeah, then basically they actually had a family tragedy happen, and that is her story to share. But by the end of the 90s, 2 guys, David and Jim, took over. Yep. And they are the ones who added our carriage house onto the property, kind of in the back. So we're attached to a breezeway, little porch area. We've got our historic part of our house, the 1878 main house is what we call it. And then in 2004, they built the carriage house, which now houses 4 luxury suites. So these are like king-size beds and fireplaces and espresso machines and TVs and patios and jacuzzi tubs. And
much more
really
like
nice.
A traditional hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
Like big rooms, lots of space.
Sitting area.
Where our original house is more like family-oriented rooms.
Yeah.
They're still nice-sized rooms. Mm-hmm. They're just, it feels more like a family's house.
Yes, totally.
Because it was a family's house.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and the carriage house was never built for families. So, so in 2004, they built that. And then in 2019, a woman named Holly, she purchased this and, got rid of kind of that like Victorian vibe and made it a little bit more hip and trendy.
A little modern.
A little more modern, yeah. And then...
and then the good old year of 2023.
Joel and Brittany Jacobson.
We moved in.
We moved in Labor Day weekend. And to bring this story truly full circle, so we moved in Saturday of Labor Day weekend. And we got everything unloaded off of the U-Haul by like 6 or 7 p.m. And Holly was helping us kind of like take over the reins after her. And she's like, okay, what do you get? Like, we're going to be up at 5 a.m. tomorrow and you can just shadow me all day. And we were like, okay, great. So we got up, she like showed us what she does all day and we followed her around and learned from her. And then on the end of the training day, basically, she turned to us and she was like, okay, so what are you guys making for breakfast tomorrow?
We're
and
like,
Joel
sweet.
and I were like, okay, great. But then on Monday, Holly had left for the day, and it was like probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and we had the great granddaughter of Emma show up at the house.
Roberta,
and her husband Dave.
Yep.
And they are the sweetest couple. Shout
They're
out
awesome.
to Roberta and Dave.
If you're listening, Air 5,
we love
let's
you.
go.
But she was like, hey, I've got these photos from like 1912 of the house and the family. Do you want to see them? So she came in and she set out all of these like photo albums, and we went through them and told her which ones we wanted like blown up or, for her to send to us so that we can frame them and stuff. And it was just so cool. We had such a blast with them, and they prayed over us on our first full day of being innkeepers. And it was just such a gift. And then they came back for their anniversary
it was awesome.
in October, and we got to serve them, and it was just so fun. We had a blast.
So what led us to become innkeepers?
So we have been working with survivors of human trafficking over the last 5 years, putting on weekend getaways focused on whole body health and wellness. And so everything from art therapy to like haircuts and styles to talking about lament and doing something physical outdoors together and talking about nutrition. It's just like a really good weekend away where we can just get to the root causes of exploitation in their lives and then hook them up with a mentor to just walk the long journey of healing with them. And so when we learned that this place was available, we were like, man, this could be a really, really cool opportunity to no longer rely on Airbnbs and, not knowing if we have olive oil or enough bathrooms for everybody. We're really unique in this space that we have 9 bedrooms and bathrooms. A lot of bed and breakfast, you like have to share a bathroom. You don't have to share a bathroom here, which is nice. And the average size of a bed and breakfast is around 4 to 5 rooms. And so to have 9, we're actually on the bigger end of this, which is actually perfect for our retreats. And we're able to bring about 100 women through our doors every year, which is exciting. And so that is kind of what led us to this. Now, did we think we would be running a bed and breakfast? If you had told us even a year ago that this was going to be a thing, I think we probably would have laughed in your face.
Yeah. Well, and because it was quick too. Like we learned
quick.
about it in June-ish.
Yeah. And then by September.
July, it was like, okay, we're working out the deets of this thing, and then by September we're here. So I think it was a shock to a lot of our friends, and it was also a shock to us.
Yeah. But I mean, even like going back to the Roberta and Dave thing, like we just felt so at home right away. I mean, and the other crazy part is that Emma actually, we have the same birthday. We're both born on July 9th. And so I don't know. It's just been cool to see all of the little things that just feel so right about owning this place and being able to be good stewards of this place and take care of this place. Our goal is to become like not donor reliant since we are a nonprofit, and just use the income from the inn to support what we're doing with survivors. So we're hoping to get to that point at sometime. But we're just really excited to be here. It's a lot of fun. All right, we've got a little plug here we want to make about our Art of Hospitality membership. And if you are interested in learning how to cook from innkeepers across the country while also receiving recipes that we've curated here at our inn, and also joining our cookbook book club and getting exclusive content about our inn and about hospitality and tips to host your own events at your own house, we would love to have you as part of our Art of Hospitality membership. To learn more about our membership, feel free to head to our show notes, and we've got a link there that you can click, and you can check out all that it entails and see if this might be something that you want to join. We'd love to have you.
All right, babe. It's the last segment. What is it?
Hospitality tips.
Sweet.
So Joel and I are firm believers that hospitality can change the world, and we absolutely love being able to host people in our homes, in our home. Although we do have 2 buildings, so we do have homes.
Yeah.
But
it feels like 30 homes because there's so many rooms, but
so each week we're just going to give you a little tip on how to make guests feel more comfortable in your home. Even if they're not even staying the night. I feel like one thing that I've actually learned this from my mom. This was something that we did years prior, but my tip for this week is cookie dough. And I know that sounds super lame.
But it's awesome.
Yes, and it's so easy. Cookie dough keeps in the freezer up to 2 months. So it's not even something that you have to do over and over and over again necessarily, unless you're hosting a lot. But 1 tub of cookie dough can last you quite a while. And if, somebody pops over unexpectedly and you want to, have something fresh in the oven, or you want to offer them something, there is nothing better than pulling out some homemade chocolate chip cookies. And if it's not homemade, that's okay too. You can go, there are plenty of pull apart cookie doughs in the world that have been created.
And those work.
Yes.
They're great.
Absolutely. It's also a really great tip for if your house feels like an absolute disaster and you know somebody's coming over in 5 minutes. Nobody sees any of that if the smell when they're greeted and when they walk through the door and they're greeted with that scent of homemade chocolate chip cookies in the oven, all is forgiven, you know?
Because the point of hospitality is when you bring people into your home, you want them to feel like they're at home too.
Exactly.
You want them to feel welcomed and loved and cared for. And chocolate chip cookies, or any cookie, just makes people feel like they're equal with you. They're your friend, they're family, really, and that's the point of what we're trying to get at. And so,
I think that's such a good point. I just read in a book called "The Simplest Way to Change the World," and it's basically about biblical hospitality, and basically. The author was saying that hospitality, the point of it is not to entertain, it's to engage. And I feel like being able to share something even as simple as a cookie together with somebody who either comes to your house a lot or has never been can be such a welcoming thing to do in a way that engages them. It's not up to you to entertain people. And that pressure can be completely taken off. Hopefully you feel that that's not the point of hospitality is entertaining your friends. It's engaging with people and welcoming strangers to your table.
Yeah, I love that. I love that quote.
It's
great. Sweet. Well, thanks, friends, for listening.
Yeah.
It's been an honor to talk. I hope you've gained something. I hope you enjoyed our podcast. And, check out all the show notes and all the different links and stuff that we'll have for all of the stuff going on. Be on the lookout for our next episode. We're going to hopefully release them soon. And
we've got some fun plans.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.